Have you ever been to a place that haunted you, a place that got into your soul and your spirit and you couldn't forget about it? I've been to such a place, and that place for me is called Palm Springs, California. Palm Springs, California is nestled in the Coachella Valley, and it's really not just one place. Has anyone heard of Palm Springs? Just for me to know, yes? Okay, good. So you may know that Palm Springs is actually a string of towns like little pearls that are all connected. There's Palm Springs, there's Cathedral City, there's Rancho Mirage, there's Palm Desert. It's a bunch of tiny little towns with no space in between. It's about 2 hours inland from Los Angeles by car. This place for me has always had an attraction, always had an appeal. And one of the reasons I can think of is the beautiful and glorious landscape, but also the climate and also the architectural elements. I'm going to tell you a bit about all three, but first, let's go back to where it all started. I was lucky enough when I was a young girl that my parents took me to Palm Springs when I was about 12. I couldn't believe it. I walked off the plane and I looked around me. It was like I'd gone to a different planet. I came from Winnipeg, a land blanketed in snow. I was languishing in the cold. And I got off the plane and I looked around. I saw palm trees gently swaying in a crystalline sky. I saw incredible flowers, hibiscus, bougainvillea with intense colors that you could smell wafting on the breeze. But the most amazing thing was the fruit trees, orange trees, lemon trees, grapefruit trees. I had never seen a thing like that. I thought they grew in Safeway, but there they were on the branches. I was so naive at that time that I walked up to a stranger's house. I knocked on the door and I said, I'm from Winnipeg and I've never seen an orange tree before. Could I pick one of yours? That's how insecure, naive I was in those days. But that aside, I came back to Palm Springs many years over and over again. But at that time, I wanted to be a cool California girl. I wanted to be a hippie, like the mamas and the papas saying, California dreamin'. I wanted that to be me. I wanted a mini skirt. I wanted go-go boots with beads, and I wanted to be as hip, as cool as can be. I remember walking down the avenue in Palm Springs and seeing it. Baskin Robbins ice cream, 31 flavors. I never heard of that before. And of course, the big D, as my father would say, Disneyland. What more like heaven could there be? After that experience, I came back many times because my parents were snowbirds. They went down to California, to Palm Springs every winter, and I would go and visit. And I learned as a designer that Palm Springs is the mecca for mid-century modern design. Just so you know, mid-century modern was a design that was really invented around the 1960s, and it was influenced by the impact of modernization in our domestic life. Dishwashers, washing machines, all came together to create a streamlined design in architecture, furniture, and art. Atomic modern design is what it was called, and I loved it. We used to go to home tours where people would open their houses and you could walk inside and look at their beautiful decor. This past winter, I was lucky enough to go back for 3 months. I was able to go with my husband and enjoy the climate and the environment, the other two elements I love of Palm Springs. Well, the climate, it's gorgeous every day. Every day you wake up, it's a beautiful day. My husband we'd go shopping to the grocery store and he'd be jockeying for position, trying to get closer to the door. And I would say to him, why are you doing this? The weather is as nice at the back of the parking lot as it is closer to the door. We're just used to Calgary where you want to get close up and close. But I said to him, it's gorgeous at the back of the parking lot. The other thing is the landscape. The desert landscape, it's incredible. You can see as far as the eye can look. You can see sand, you can see cacti, barrel cactus, all kinds of beautiful elements, mountains coming out with huge stone cliffs. And we started hiking. My husband hiked about 22 times, and I myself hiked about 12 or 14. I want to tell you two things you can be afraid of from hiking, because those of you who know me know I'm scared of bears here in Alberta. Well, in the desert landscape, you can be afraid of two things. I got to find them. Rattlesnakes, getting lost. I figure with the snakes, I'll just go faster than the snakes, so it won't be that big a problem. But getting lost, oh my goodness, the landscape looks the same in every direction. So I was always nervous about that. But I discovered there was one more thing you could be afraid of: serial killers. Now you might wonder, what the heck would happen for that? Well, I'll tell you. One day we went on a hike, my husband and I, nobody in sight. As far as the eye can see, it's all desert landscape. And beside us, I noticed walking up beside us, nobody there, is a guy. No hiking boots, no backpack, no water. I figure, this guy's going to kill us. I said to him, "You're not going to kill us, are you?" My husband was mortified, but that's when I talk before I think. In any event, we got out of there. We didn't get killed by a serial killer. And my kids gave me for my birthday, which was when I was down there, a Garmin GPS system so I wouldn't get lost again. But I can tell you, I don't need a GPS system to find my way back to California. I will always be California dreaming. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Shelley. This is an entertaining speech.